We are live. Welcome back, everybody, with another deep dive episode. We got a chart right here about dating, and my buddy Justin is gonna go over it. So I'll give the floor to you.
Yeah, so this is from Home Math, and I was telling Shammy here a little bit about who he is. Some of you might be familiar with who he is. He makes a lot of masculinity content. Um, a lot of you might even know him from X. I mainly follow his content on X because I like his tweets. I think he's one of the more intellectual, um, I guess you could say masculinity guys, red pill, whatever category you want to say, because I'm sure you know, like the past 5 years, that whole category has been just blown out of proportion with Andrew Tate and all that. But yeah, so this chart essentially depicts modern dating, right? And on the left side here, and I want to replace equal pay and free market, and I have made a video on this in the past as well. Um, but just replace the equal pay and free market with social engineering. That's what I want it to be as. So the left is how the modern dating is with the woman, the social engineered woman, the socially conditioned woman. And on the right would be essentially how dating would look if there wasn't social engineering going on, especially against women. So the left, obviously, what it depicts is the majority of women, 80% of women are going essentially for 20 to 30% of men, which really leaves about 20% of women for about 60 to 70% of men. But these are obviously lower tier women, meaning probably very out of shape, not healthy, maybe bad personality or whatever it might be. But this is obviously leaving a plethora of dudes single. We've come to a point where guys are angry about it. Like that's guys have realized, wow, like because of red pill, this awakening with all that, and all people just aging and having experience, seeing how the world is and how messed up things are. Guys have realized like, wow, like women like really only care about looks, and guys go down this path like Homath, for example, of saying, well, it's because we gave them equal opportunity. It's because of DEI and um, women have to get this equal opportunity like men, and they got to be put in positions maybe they shouldn't even be in because their corporation, their company might get investigated for being sexist or whatever.
Mm.
So anyway, that's going to be his argument. A lot of red pill masculinity dudes will go down that path of we shouldn't let women vote, and um, women shouldn't be in the workforce and should be just in the kitchen and be mothers and all that stuff. Which, of course, we even said briefly how we don't agree with that. I understand why guys would go down that route because I kind of went down that route too, just from watching indulging too much in red pill.
Hmm.
Uh, but I mean, we see this, for example, like what it's depicted on the left. We see this today because everyone is single. Like we probably have the world record of most single people in history of the world. And
Right.
like we were saying in the really deep dive episode we did the other night, which was like almost 2 hours long, that we touched on was dating. I feel like the root cause is because what we see on the left here is because this is what women are doing, right? They're going after these men, really, and it has nothing to do. It's not like these top guys are moral, good men of truth and are changing the world for the better. They're going after probably dudes, celebrity status. That it could be guys like that, like Drake, like what we were saying,
Yeah.
Justin Bieber, whoever's famous. That girl's like one of these country singers that seems to be like really big nowadays.
Or anyone with like status or any type of like,
Cloud.
power, clout. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be that. It could be just due to our really good looking and tall, like male models, like whatever. But in
Hmm.
the end of the day, it's really based on physical attributes. That's what it is. It's because of height. It's because of looks, and it's because then it's probably because of money. And those are really the top things that women look for. You don't really like. Obviously, all women are gonna say, "I want a good guy, treats me well, respectful, yada yada yada." Who doesn't want that, right? But
Yeah.
none of them ever say, "I want a guy who knows truth. I want a guy who has a higher consciousness, who can teach me about stuff going on in the world." it might sound really weird. I want a guy with good morals. It might sound weird, honestly, and childish almost, but these
Yeah.
are not what girls say. Girls say, "I want a guy." You ask them about personality type, they always throw in tall. I always thought it was funny. They throw in tall in there.
Yeah. Like
You're
the modern woman has done that. Yeah.
right, yeah, and they're all ditzy about it, and it's again, dude, there's a lot of reasons for this. We could probably spend all night talking about it, but really, the modern woman has not been held accountable for much. And it's really weird seeing Miss Andrus on X say that men aren't held accountable for stuff. They again, Miss Andrus like to focus on like the 0.05% of men in this world that rape and kill women.
Yeah.
Um, so
And a lot of the time, like that comes from like men with power and status, like men
well,
who,
yeah, the men they complain about are the men that they're having sex with. That's what's crazy.
yeah, like the men who are like, who feel like they have power and control and authority over women are more likely to abuse and, manipulate women on a large scale.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, it's almost like, what's the word? It's like a contradiction because it's like, you would think women would want, a nice person to treat them right. That's what, in their mind, that's what they think they're getting. But in reality, they're really just going after, like you said, the physical attributes or the money, the status, the
Yeah.
clout, and it's like a never ending cycle
Yeah.
of kill and
And
destroy.
it's not even that. It's what are my friends going to think? What are my family going to think?
Yeah,
Is this guy going
right.
to look good on my Instagram with my aesthetic and all that?
Right. It's like, so like, I'm pretty sure there's women out there who are like, oh well, what are people gonna think if I date a man who makes less money than me? And that's probably definitely going through the minds of a lot of modern women. Oh, I can't date a guy who doesn't make as much money as I do. you
Yeah.
know and it's crazy because I actually know someone who dates a female. She makes a lot of money, right? And she dates a guy who makes way less than her, but she's like happy, like she's actually like in a genuine relationship because she likes the guy for who he is and what he can do for her and whatever else. So I wish I saw more females like that, that didn't mind, not settling, but it's like you don't have to put so much expectation and standards on men, especially in today's society with the economy. Like, there's like an ongoing like dispute that's been happening over the years of women going 50-50 with men, and like, for me, I think that's just so dumb because you have the modern women saying that, oh, they're not going 50-50 with men on anything, no bills, no food, no nothing, X, Y, and Z. And really, the traditional women, they're like more than okay with going 50-50. For example, like my grandparents, they've been married for like over 50 years, and my grandma told me, she's like, she expects to go 50-50 with her husband. Like, it's not like, I'm gonna let him pay all this stuff and I don't pay anything and use none of my money. Like, no, you're in this together. Like, you're working together to survive and to take care of a family. Like, it has to be a 50-50 effort across the board. So you got a lot of women today, they don't believe in that. They just believe, hey, let me just find a rich guy who has, you know, all these things that I can live off of, and I don't have to put out much. All I gotta do is sexually put out and do this and that to please the guy. And like, that just goes to show you how, like, the modern woman has degraded themselves. They devalued their worth just by having that way of thinking. um it's truly scary, and it's concerning because I see it more often than not in women our age who, they might have some stuff going for them, but I know a lot of women who are like just really out looking for a guy who can just take care of them. Like, maybe, like, I would say like 30 to 40% of women I know actually have like stuff going for them where
Yeah.
they're not depending on a guy to save them.
Yeah.
So it's scary.
Yeah. And earlier you used the word settle, right? How women feel like they're settling, and that's the issue. Can you, by the way, see my cursor or no on the screen?
Are you moving it?
Yeah, do you see it or
I
no?
don't see anything moving.
Is there a way I could it could show or
Um, is your screen paused? Like, is there like a pause in your screen or anything?
no?
Like, can you like remove the what this chart or anything like that? Can you like? Okay, now I see it. I just saw it now.
Oh, I
Yeah,
have to.
there you go.
Okay, I have to go on the screen. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's basically what I was gonna say was if one of these girls here, right? Let's say the mid tier, they
Hmm.
go like with one of these guys in the mid tier. Basically, in other words, a guy on their level. They're if you're gonna feel like they're settling, and that's the issue. It's all right.
Right.
They might take it for a little while, but this is why a lot of guys get cheated on and all this stuff. And
Hmm.
I mean, the statistics show men cheat more, which I wouldn't be surprised, I guess, because men are more horny, and all that by
Yeah.
their very nature. But
I would say in today's day and age, it's probably just about the same, honestly.
yeah, yeah. But I
You
think
know.
women are just much better at hiding it because
Yeah.
women are the ones that don't want to get viewed at, especially as the dirty person, unless they really just want you to break up with them. Then they'll let themselves get caught. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's intentional when they get caught, man. It's like it's
It
not even
it
like
really
trying to
is.
hide it at that
Yeah.
point.
I agree. I think it is intentional.
But my point with this chart is this is the root cause. If someone were to ever say like why is dating so bad, this is a visual like like chart of why things are so bad. Like this, it's really this left side here. Yeah,
Hmm.
this is how it would look if things were normal. If there wasn't social engineering and there wasn't people controlling us and manipulating us from the day we come out, whether that be through what you see on TV, through music, and now through social media, and all this stuff, and of course just through the culture that the people who the social engineers that they influence, right? They influence culture. They create our culture for us,
Yeah.
and this is essentially how it would look if this world, we didn't have government, we didn't have international bankers who print out different nations' money, all these sellout celebrities who influence the youth and all these things. We wouldn't have a mess, right? And then the guys here, right, who don't get chosen, these are guys who don't deserve women, right? These would be bums, losers, maybe mentally ill dudes, uh,
Hmm.
guys who would actually have to work on themselves. Because
Yeah.
what's funny about this chart too is the women win, right?
Yeah.
Both sides, the women win. It's like really
Yeah.
it's the men that one or the other lose because
Yeah.
here they're all getting men.
Right. Because we're the prize at the end of the day, man.
Right. They're all and like they're winning too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And it's just sad, and I don't know why like all this like male loneliness, misandrous, misogyny stuff is popping up on my X feed lately. But it's like the women will say, and I think these accounts are rage bait accounts. You know what I'm saying? To just to get
Yeah.
mad because I'll go on their page and I'm like, huh, these accounts only got like a couple thousand followers and not a real picture of them, and it's like, oh, like misandrous, like stand up for women. Like, it just doesn't seem legit.
Yeah. They're
Seems like
bots, bro.
seems like it's rage bait.
Yeah. A lot of these accounts are bots.
Yeah, there's also incel one. Have you ever seen that one on X?
What is
You
it?
know what an incel is, right?
You said incel?
Incel, yeah.
No, what's that?
It would basically be if I were to show you on the chart here, like these lower guys, like guys who
Hmm.
just don't get women. The
Hmm.
problem is that most guys kind of are incels because
Okay.
most guys are struggling to get women. So like there is a big like male like there's an overall loneliness epidemic, which is very obvious, but more specifically with men, it's like more men are lacking friends, intimate relationships, and lonely than women are.
Mm.
Um, but essentially, there's this incel account, right? If you go on the account, it'll say celibate by not by choice, right?
Hmm.
And they post a lot of red pill misogynistic type content, just like the male loneliness epidemic is women's fault. That's the one that his tweet that's been blowing up lately, and all these people are like reacting to it. It's like, well, women could fix the male loneliness epidemic, but they choose not to. And like I hate to say it, but it's kind of true. It's yeah, can they? But at the same time, is there stuff men can do to improve themselves? Yes. But the incels argument is it doesn't matter like our social skills. It doesn't matter how much we go to the gym, our financial stability, and all that stuff. It's just our face. Like they just don't like me for how I look, and I can't control how I look and all that.
Mhm.
So yeah, and maybe I'm biased because I'm a guy, but I feel this, man, because I'm not a bad looking dude, right? It's not like I'm rich, but I live my own, got my own car, got a job, and
Mhm.
it's just never good enough. I'm never good enough, right? I mean, for whatever reason, women ghost me, like I was telling you
Right.
on the deep dive. Like I always get ghosted, and
Mhm.
quite frankly, dude, it hurts over time. Like you become numb to it.
Yeah,
It's like
definitely.
you're just like yeah, like all right, I had a great time with this girl, but the chances are I'm not going to see her again. And I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but I'm right most of the time.
Yeah.
And like honestly, it's hurtful. It's like when this keeps adding up, it's hurtful. It's like, yo, like, man,
Yeah.
there's no hope. There's no I
Yeah.
can't connect with anyone. You feel lonely. You feel not fulfilled. And
Mhm.
people
And
will say, oh, you're just a loser. It's you. It's like, no, no, no. This is all of us. Like we're not connecting properly. There's no proper communication, you know?
yeah, right. Yeah, like we were saying on the last episode, like you don't know if it's you that did something wrong anymore. It's like at the end of the day, it could just be like the woman just has either so many options that her mind is just on to the
Yeah.
next, or
Most of the time, dude, I'm not even saying for myself, but you're not doing anything wrong.
exactly. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like you might say something or do something that she perceives as it's wrong or that oh that turned me off and
Right.
that's just the problem with these women, bros. They get turned off in a snap of a finger.
Yeah. Bro, it's happened to me as well. Like, I know what you mean. Like, you do one thing, and then like, boom, everything that you built up with that person is just vanished. It's like, okay, like you just gave up on what we were working on just because I did one slight thing. You know what I mean? Like, or I said something. Like, I don't know. For me, like, if it was the opposite way, like I would be like, I would look past it, or I would be like, look at it or bring it up, like, hey, I don't like this and that. You know what I mean? It's like communicating, and I
Yeah,
just feel like we were saying, it's like, women have so many options now. It's just like, if you just do one thing wrong, on to next. I'm done with you. Go to the next person. You know what I mean?
right.
Especially if you're not like their ideal type. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you're not like, if you're like their ideal type, it doesn't matter what you do wrong. They'll
yeah,
still mess with you. But if you're not their ideal type and they're just giving you a
yeah. If you're
chance,
like right here, right, you're on thin ice. If you're like on
right,
this level,
right. If you're like
if
in
you're up
that
here, you
area,
can pretty much do what you want. Yeah, I know.
exactly. Yeah, it's crazy how messed up the dynamics are. And literally that happened to me at least once, I remember it for sure. And I was just so annoyed at the chick. I was like, yo, like I was like, yo, well, like, you're just not gonna talk to me over that little thing? Like it's just so dumb. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
we,
Sometimes, dude, like I've hooked up with girls, even like gone on dates with them, like, and then like I don't know, they just disappear. They just they're so into me, and then they just stop talking to me
yeah,
for whatever reason. And maybe like a year later, if I like check up on them, I'll see they have a boyfriend. So it's like the problem is, bro, is the speed dating, the amount of options women have that they can just
yeah,
download an Instagram app or especially a dating app and
yeah,
plethora of options compared to even a good looking guy who would download an Instagram, let's say, or a dating app. And sure, he'll get some options compared to most guys, but even like compared to these bottom barrel girls, he's not going to get as much as them
right,
because,
yeah,
because the loneliness of men, the horniness, the desperateness of men, and I can't say like I haven't lowered my standards to girls like on this level like this. I'm
hmm
not gonna say like down here, but
hmm
like this level, a 4, a 5,
hmm
6, and like stuff like that.
yeah.
So it's and girls don't understand that, right? Like a guy is even up here, they might stoop down to girls here, the very mid tier, just to,
Oh, we can't see your thing.
oh my bad.
Okay, there we
Um,
go. Yeah.
yeah, so these guys up here, the top guys, they might lower their standards to girls here, like in the mid
Uh-huh.
tier, just to
Right.
smash because they can.
Yeah.
Um, and same with these guys here, right, who are very mid. They might lower their tier to these bottom barrel girls just to smash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because they smashed a couple of times, a hot guy, quote unquote, their standards are right, so they think they deserve that kind of guy now. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Those guys in the middle that stoop low to the girls at the bottom, those are the I'm leaving with something tonight.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Could be like a drunk, you're at the club, whatever, right? We all might
Yeah.
have been there. So
I'm leaving with something tonight.
yeah,
That's one of those situations.
right. So I mean, again, man, this really is. This is a great depiction of the root cause of how you know why modern dating is so bad. It's
Mm.
because of this right here. And
Yeah, I
how do
agree.
we fix this? I mean, I don't know. It's all we could do is fix the upcoming generation. The younger they are, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to make sure they don't get brainwashed the way that women our age have, especially older.
Yeah.
So, because
Oh, I think you froze for a minute, Justin. Yeah, I think you froze. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but your screen is froze. Uh, hmm. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. You might have to reconnect with us. Let me just see if I can take him off and bring him back. But he was actually spitting facts. Hold on. J Masters Productions, are you with us? Yeah, something might have happened to his connection. But yeah, like what he was saying, I'll just take over for him. Yeah, something happened to his connection, um, and we lost his picture as well. It's okay. Um, just for me to wrap up here on what he was talking about, it's really comes down to both parties. Both men and women have to up their standards. Oh, he's back. He's back. Hold up. Oh, we got him back. We got him back.
hey, sorry, dude. I was gonna tell you this before we started. I've been having some internet issues all day. It's been cutting out a lot. So if I
Yeah.
leave, it's not because I'm bailing or whatever.
Nah, you're good. I do something was off. Yeah. If you want to
Yeah,
pull
let me.
your screen back up there.
Yeah.
What I was just saying when you were off, I was just going on what you were just saying about what's the solution, and the solution, in my opinion, is basically the same as what you said. Is educate the youth. Like men have to one. I think men have to continue to keep working on themselves, keep building yourselves, so you're not in that bottom tier and you move up to the higher tier of the man, and you keep working on yourself. But I think a lot of this generation doesn't have enough patience to work and develop and to see progress over time. It's like it takes 10 years to really work on your life to get up to that higher level epsilon of a man. Like I would say 10 years is the minimum. It probably takes 20 years, not 30 years, to really get to that level of, okay, I'm secure, I have I have money, I have resources, I have knowledge, information. So I think as men, me and you, and the younger people in our 20s should be used to just develop ourselves, get better, get stronger, get smarter, find ways that we can build our wealth and build our empire. I think that's what our 20s and 30s need to be about. And then once you hit like your upper 30s, about to hit 40, that's when you should start looking to settle down. And I don't see nothing wrong with an older man settling down with a younger female. Like I don't see anything wrong with that, because the way, especially today's generation, like think about, like, let's say, like just 50 years ago, it was so much easier to afford, daily living things, like rent was very cheap 50 years ago, car insurance, all gas, food, everything was so cheap. So you could literally get married right out of high school, get a house, get a car, a job, go send your kids to school. Like you could do so many things at such a young age where you saw, a lot of women and men still around the same age, in relationships. But now, as the economy has, I don't know if it's gotten better or worse. It seems like it's gotten worse. But as capitalism has grown, you see that it's usually the older men who have more stability and wealth, and so the younger women are more likely going to go after them rather than the men their same age as the women. It's just that's the way it is. Women are looking for stability. It's like their natural instinct to look for someone to provide. And that's who men are. We're providers, and the woman is the nurturer. They're the ones who nurture the family, who heal the family. That's why they have to know how to cook, clean, and really know how to take care of a family. I think that's like our God given DNA, and I feel like this generation has gotten that all screwed up. I remember like I got into like a conversation with some kids from Rutgers, where I went to school, and I was basically telling them like, yo, like all women should know how to cook and clean. Like that's a standard of mine. You should know how to cook a basic meal, and you should know how to keep the house or your surroundings, in tight. Keep it neat, clean, and not be sloppy. I think every woman should know how to do that. It's in their instincts. They're nurturers.
Yeah, and it's not that hard to do either. Really, like
Right.
it takes some work. Yeah, it might take some effort to vacuum or do laundry or like whatever the feminine type stuff. But I mean, it's really not that hard. Even cooking, it's like, I'll cook for myself. I never do like these gourmet, crazy chef meals, but it's like
Right. Right.
I know how to do it, and like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's people our age that don't boys and girls, whoever that don't know how to.
There's a lot, bro. There's a lot. I'm telling you, there's a lot of. I've met a lot of girls who are, well, I guess they're women now, but they do not know how to cook. It's sad, bro. Like basic stuff they don't know how to do. Now, we live in like, a fairly populated area, so you're gonna see a mix of both. Some that do, some that don't. Um, I did notice that if you go outside the cities, you go to like rural places, those women usually know how to like do all those things, because they're more of the submissive type of woman looking for like a provider, a male provider. So like they know how to do the wife chores and stuff. And that's also not to say that men should know how to cook and clean as well. I think every man should know how to feed themselves. But I think like if you're a female and you're above the age of 18, you should know how to cook and clean 100%. Like there's no excuse. And I when I was in college, man, I met a lot of girls who didn't know how to do none of that. Like you go to their rooms are filthy. You ask them if they know how to make a little meal, they can't do it. They always have to order out. I'm like, yo, like, is it this new generation? Because back in the old generation, like even like my older cousins and my siblings, whatever, they know how to do all that stuff.
College, bro, has become a staple for women. I'm sure you realize that. I mean, all these women are in college. That's the thing. They're completely getting raised by the state and whatever the
Yeah,
state from the day they're born. It's
yeah,
the thing about men is um, this, like we were talking about in the deep dive, is the school system isn't necessarily geared towards men. Just having them sit in a classroom like that, be quiet, shut up and listen, all that. And the whole education system is flawed as it is, but for
yeah,
whatever reason, and I think this just has to do with like women competing with each other and what they've seen in the propaganda with feminism and the strong independent woman is they all are always in college getting their bachelor's degree and their master's degree and getting always in school getting something. And I think one, they go in school because they want to avoid the workplace because in reality these women can't handle actually working. like that.
Hmm.
Most of them, they think they could, but that's one. But what were we talking about again? Forgot.
Just the dynamics of what a woman and a male should be. At least that's what I was going off on. It's just again, I think all women should know how
Yeah,
to cook and clean.
I was gonna say something else, but I completely forgot. It just left
Yeah,
my
yeah. Again, like it's just we have to
Oh yeah,
bring the standards down.
college, the universities. See, that's what it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
They're basically raising all of us, but like in particular women, because it's like a staple in their life to
right.
go to school for. And I think there's a phenomenon behind it for sure, and I think it's a lot of social reasons,
Hmm.
and also just avoiding the workplace because let's face it. I mean, a lot of us are growing up. This isn't just women, but we're growing up and we're not maturing. We're really not truly maturing internally.
Yeah.
And if we were maturing internally, we would see a lot more people realizing, which we are, of course, in today's world, more. But we would realize that politics is a sham. More people would understand now. We wouldn't be feeding the machine system with everything we do on a daily basis.
Hmm.
Um, and it's kind of like we were saying too in the deep dive. It takes maturity to realize truth, even if it hurts you, and to be like shit, like all right, maybe I was wrong, and to start to look into it and to just let your ego down. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I know we brushed a little bit on marijuana and alcohol yesterday, but one of the reasons I like marijuana is because I feel like with me, it really makes me calm because I'm a very like intense, volatile person, and weed like calms me down a lot, and like that's one. But two, just like the mental aspects, like I feel like it deflates my ego to where I see how what I'm doing that's wrong, even though it's like this used to make me more uncomfortable when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I'm more accepting of it. But I always think like, oh, I got to start doing this more, that more, or I don't know. It makes me think more.
Hmm.
I think a lot, and of course, I think about truth, and I should start writing things down too. So I'll think of like putting things together. Anyway, I like the creative aspect and the psychological effects of weed because I've never been this kind of person that smokes. I'm just like, let me go eat some chips, bro, and play some games and sit down all day. Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Like eat pizza and soda and drink
Yeah.
soda.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's what my point is I think women too are kind of realizing and are around our age and what the trad con wife, have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Basically means traditional conservative wife.
Okay.
So maybe they're not conservative, but I feel like women are realizing that these men are like and are yearning more for the traditional type woman. So I feel like what women are doing now, especially when they're older, like our age in their 30s more so, is they're putting on fronts, making themselves look like traditional women. Like I'm a woman of God now.
Mm.
I am a big believer in Christ now. It's very, very evil and deceiving in my opinion, but I think you've seen these kind of girls before who are like they're getting older and it's like all of a sudden they're like really big into God now and like
Yeah.
and they'll put it in their bio even so
Yeah. That's because they've done some things in their past they're
yeah,
not proud of.
right.
Yeah.
And
I've met quite a few. Yeah.
yeah, and in the end, and just like the same way they like astrology and the horoscopes and the positive quotes and the birth dates, whatever it is that they're all into, it's
Hmm.
because these women, dude, I feel like they're yearning for like true masculinity, and the only masculinity they think they what they think is masculinity is these guys up here,
Right.
which some of them might actually genuinely be. But I
Yeah.
think what they really see is, they just drive like a nice car or a nice house or got a lot of social media followers, or
Right.
he's just an asshole, selfish, arrogant prick.
Right.
Or maybe he's a literal gangster on the street and they like that danger, the girls.
Yeah.
So,
Because
it's
in their mind, it's like that's like a masculine man.
yeah, it's they
Yeah.
don't know. Like women and men both don't know what masculinity is really. In
Yeah.
the end of the day, like, men think it's this Andrew Tate type masculinity, and women think it's like this. It's like they will describe it to you as this nice guy, but they never like go after it. It's like it's so
Yeah,
funny the way women work, in my opinion, man. I think
yeah.
it's really interesting.
As a man, we will never figure out how women truly work. Like
No, it's
it'll
just so, but
never.
it's just so funny, like how they say they want this, but then it's like, oh, the guys they go after is the complete opposite. It's just
Yeah,
very frustrating because it's like, well, why are you saying you want this then? And people, the red pill community is like, well, don't listen to women. Like this is just how they are. And this is what confused me with red pills. Like they always just put down women, almost making them seem like they're like second class humans or
yeah,
whatever. Like they're just
yeah.
not as
That's
human.
yeah. That's why I don't like red pill content because it's
Right. Yeah. And I
like
believed it. I was like thinking it was true, but I'm like, no, no, no. Like these are grown adult humans. It's like,
yeah,
how are they not competent enough to know what they're doing, or like
yeah.
for just to really operate on these feelings and emotions? Like what, they really have no logicality in them at all. It's like they got to have some morals in them,
Hmm.
So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what my point is what I was saying, but we need help, man. This is an
Yeah,
issue.
yeah,
We got to do something about this. We got to make more people aware of it.
yeah. Again, I think again the phones have to do a lot with this type of programming and brainwashing. Like social media has really caused people to see the world differently than really what it truly is, or what it's supposed to be. Um, and I think if we can limit the amount of traffic going through social media, like limit the amount of time we spend on social media, this might help the dating world, because I've been single for the most part for the past like let's say for the past like 5 years. Like for the most part, I've been single. I haven't talked to basically no one. Like I would say a handful of women I've actually talked to on a serious level of like dating, and like I noticed in almost all of them, like they're definitely shooting for that top percent of men, and I don't blame them to a certain degree. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I don't have a lot of money right now in my life. I'm in my 20s. I'm still working on myself. Can you understand that? Like that's what like I want today's women to realize.
Right. Yeah.
Like
I know what you mean, and I always think that too. And honestly, they don't. It seems like, dude, they don't think about it. Like they're not smart enough to be like, oh, this person's like not 45 yet. They're not a millionaire. Even if,
exactly. Yeah, it's like I'm still like paying off debt. Like I'm still trying to like figure out my own mental health. I'm still
yeah,
trying to figure
as
out
a
my
dude,
own.
and this is what women don't. I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is
No,
what women
go ahead.
don't get. Is as a dude, like you gotta like take left and right. You gotta go through struggles, and like women just want to be at the finish line already, and just while
Right,
they don't want to like go through the journey with you. They
right.
just want to be there when you're already successful.
Right. And so it's like to a certain degree we can't really stop that or help change that. I think the only thing you can really do, there's two things you can do. You can either avoid dating and just keep building yourself up until you get to that top percent of men, or you can just get really lucky and find a girl who really loves you when you're at the bottom, and then you build your way up, with that person. That's like the only options you really have
Which
as a
is
man.
possible too. I don't want to make it seem like it's hopeless here. It's like you could find a girl who's not going to be all wrapped up in this. This goes just for the majority of women. This doesn't
Yeah,
mean like this is every single woman, but
yeah,
the problem is even with the women I deal with, right? It's like they weren't like ugly, but I felt like I was better looking than them. My last two girlfriends in particular, it's like I
yeah.
always felt like that I was like better looking than them and all this stuff. But either way, my ex girlfriends, they didn't know anything about truth, so they don't matter.
Hmm.
But in terms of the physical, I always was like, well, these girls don't even go to the gym like me. It's kind of like we were saying yesterday. Like the girls I deal with, it's like I never seem to deal with girls that take go to the gym like I do, for example, just something
Yeah.
small like that, right? It's like always girls that are a little bit, I don't want to say fat, but a little heavier, right?
Hmm.
And I think I speak for a lot of guys when I say it's like, wow, it's like those are like the kind of girls we got to go out with. And it's not every time. It's like the girls will be skinny sometimes, but even if it's like
Yeah.
the more attractive they are, the more weird they are. I don't even know. It's
Yeah, yeah, the personality's messed up.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. It's I've dated some girls who were close to tens, nines, tens, and it's like they're just the most boring people. It's like it's not even like worth it. You know, like I've had way more fun and interesting conversations with girls who are like in that middle 6 to 7, 8, range.
Yeah,
Just
and they
way
tend to
better.
treat you better, right? Those mid girls, right? The
Yeah,
mid, yeah, they
yeah.
tend to
They
treat you better.
they treat you so much better. I remember this. I worked with this guy, this Turkish guy, and he told me something that I would always remember. He was like, the big girls, the girls who aren't as attractive, those are the ones you want to wife up. And he's like, yo, like, you notice a lot of those bigger girls or the girls who are just just not as attractive, they're always the one what rings on their fingers, and they're usually in happy relationships. And the other girls who are like, the gym baddies, the whatever top looking women, they're either single or they might be in a marriage and they're not happy in their marriage. You know what I mean? And it's just that's it comes down to character. A lot of women who are don't fit the standard of an out of the red pill man, the red pill standards. They're usually the nicest women, the best women, and they'll treat you right. So
Yeah,
it's really a backwards way we are running our society. That's why I almost like, in my opinion, I might go out the country and find my wife, eventually, because like American women, a lot of them are shot, man. They're
and I'm
so
glad you
fried.
brought that up because I know we've gone for a while here, but this is what I want to bring up this last point for us to go
Hmm.
into this phenomenon that I've spoken to you about. I'm pretty sure is foreign women,
Hmm.
and it seems as if most of the dates I've gone on with at least attractive women the past couple years have all been Latinas or some sort of foreign woman, not from the United States, right?
Yeah.
And they're just always so much nicer. I mean, it's really insane how much more pleasant they are to talk to and just way more easy to get along with, and
Mm.
um, how they make things easy. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about just being with them and talking to them,
Right. Yeah.
and just their whole presence and their demeanor.
Yeah.
It's there's so much more feminine, and I'm like, well, what is this? Why is it that? Let's just use Tinder, right? I went to Costa Rica in 2024, but that's a different story. But
Hmm.
I'll put my location on Tinder because you could do this on Tinder. You could put it anywhere in the world. If I put
Hmm.
my location in Colombia or like Brazil, um, Peru, wherever, Venezuela, man, it doesn't matter. It's like I'm like getting all these matches. It's crazy. Like I'm literally this guy when I'm like
Yeah. That's funny.
but when I'm here in the United States, bro, I'm like here.
Right. Yeah.
So and
That's
it's dude,
crazy.
again, it's like hurtful, man. It's like, yo, in my own country, my own women don't want me. It's like for real. It's like
Right.
I really gotta like look elsewhere to
Yeah.
find like a good woman and to get some femininity. It's like,
Right.
and I don't. I'm sure you might have heard passport boys, that trend, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Passport bros. Yeah.
Or bros, whatever. So it's
Yeah.
like I totally get it. But here's what men gotta understand too. Is like you gotta be like and not that you have to have all your chips figured out, but you gotta somewhat have yourself figured out. I mean, because that's the issue. Is a lot of guys wonder why they're not getting girls because a lot of guys just aren't smart, right? They're not competent in the head. They don't know how to talk to women properly. So it is some guys' fault. I'm
Of
definitely not
course.
saying that. A lot of guys maybe don't keep in shape, even though, to be honest, when I go to the gym, it's always dominated by men. So I would argue men keep in shape better than women do,
Yeah.
especially in the modern day.
Hmm.
But the thing is that what was I just saying? I keep forgetting what I'm saying.
We were talking about women outside the country.
Foreign women. But what was I saying?
Um. You're just saying how like American women are hard to please, hard to interact with X, Y, and
Right.
Z.
So anyway, I decided to. I don't remember what I was saying before, but I was looking on Reddit because I was curious about it, and a lot of guys were saying the same things. A lot of American guys were like, "What is it like? Why is it that foreign women are more easy to attract?" And people are saying, "I don't think it's that they're easier to attract, quote unquote. It's just that one, they're not used to you probably because maybe you have a different masculine demeanor. They're also different because their culture maybe, and they're more feminine because they're not from the United States, of course.
Hmm.
Um, but three, shit. Why am I forgetting everything, man?
It's all right.
Um, it was that this I don't remember. But anyway, I looked it up on Reddit, and guys were saying the same things. But so I remember the third point was that I don't think it's that they're easier. It's just that Western women are harder to attract. Like the American women, it's like they're getting more hard to attract. And I think that's a perfect way to say it. I'm feeling like every year it's harder to like go on a date. Even you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like hard to like get things going. It's like all right, meeting them is one thing, but it's like going taking things farther. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like it gets harder and harder every year. Um,
Yeah. I think, like in college, it was so much easier to do that. Like, just taking out women, hanging out, whatever, whatever. But like when you're not in like that type of environment and it's kind of just like a real world environment, you kind of have to find women and figure out where they're at. If they like going to, I don't know, let's say coffee shops. It's like, is that the place where you can meet them? If you like them, if they like to gym, is that the place? So it's like it's and then like once you find that mutual place that you connect with women, that's when you should find like what else are they into. Are they into art, are they into riding bikes or just going on walks, trying new foods, or are they influencers on the Instagrams or whatever. I think like that's like the way to kind of take things further, but it is difficult, because again, if you don't fit the standard of a woman, like in their first like 3 seconds of them seeing you, they basically write you off. It's just like, oh, like what is that? I forgot the saying. It's like what women will they know if they'll sleep with you within the first like 3 seconds of looking at you. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
and
it's
I think
like,
that's what's hurtful to a lot of guys. I think that's why they kind of turn to this rage into anonymous online accounts, or maybe even it might start getting acted out in person. You know,
yeah,
in the
yeah,
coming years, who knows? But
right,
I think that's what it is. A lot of guys are just hurting from being lonely and feeling like they're because it makes them feel worthless if the opposite sex doesn't want them. And
yeah,
women make jokes like, oh, why do men like why do they rely on like us for their like confidence? It's like the same thing would happen to you if you didn't get attention. If all of a sudden all this attention you get now as a woman, even if you're fugly, right, still get
mhm,
attention from guys. Um, you're gonna feel a certain way. It's not about even gender at this point. It's about human connection.
mhm,
It's like yo, look at all these dudes we're isolating here in this modern day. This has been going on. This isn't like oh, this is new. No, this has been like this for a while now,
yeah,
and we're really seeing the repercussions. And
yeah,
what I just want to say about foreign women is that I think that this is the way that American guys are going to have to go. You might have to download a dating app or whatever, and
mhm,
or just message girls from other countries and see if you could do it that way. Be
yeah.
careful, of course, but
Yeah, because a lot of them are looking for a ticket to America too.
yeah, that as well. If you're a guy with money, especially, like you can make that happen very quickly.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, that and it's a known thing. From my experience too, I will say foreign women are better. My last girlfriend was foreign.
Hmm.
She was Brazilian. She came here. She was like off the boat, and unfortunately that ended because she used to live like around here. Then she moved to Houston, Texas, which obviously is far.
Hmm.
And we tried long distance, and that didn't work out well. But so
Yeah.
that's another thing too is I want people to because my last two relationships turned long distance,
Hmm.
unfortunately, but we got to like start also having these relationships in person because I've noticed there's like all these pen pal relationships now
Yeah.
that got kind of big, and it's just because people are lonely. you
Yeah.
know it's this like long distance stuff. It's not going to leave you fulfilled. You're not going to be able to communicate properly. I'm telling you, things will not uh
Hmm.
you will not understand each other's lives basically.
Yeah, and
You could text,
temptation as
right,
well.
temptation, but also like you could text, you could FaceTime, but like, you will not be able to communicate properly if you're
Yeah.
long distance. That's all I'll say about that. I'm sure anyone who's tried it could say the same for long distance.
Yeah, I think only way long distance works if you are already in a relationship that was lasted a long time.
And if
Um,
you know you're gonna be together at some point, that's not so far away,
right, yeah, and
like
like
a year maximum, and
yeah, and you plan those trips to like hang out with each other and stuff. But like I know when I was on the dating apps, like I used to never have women more than 10 miles away from me because I don't like long distance. I'm like, hey, I'm the type of person where I want to be able to drive to you in like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to see you in like 5-10 minutes if I want to, type shit. So I don't like long distance. I think it's definitely damaging to our society in the dating world. Um, and again, man, it's standards, man. People's standards have to drop. Like men, like we gotta stop expecting women to have all these physical features, for us to
yeah,
even be attracted to them or talk to them. Like, I do think men and women have to drop their standards.
yeah, because for men too, it's like sometimes the women think when I say go to the gym or to keep in shape, they think I mean they have to look like one of these models that they see,
Right. Yeah.
one of these like gym girls that they see. Just these women who have these. Maybe some of them are natural, but a lot of that might be genetics, or some of it might just be because of work that they got done on themselves.
Yeah. A lot of it's work.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just a skewed view. And again, the gym is a whole different topic, and how much misinformation is in there, and what people think is healthy and what isn't. So that's a whole
Yeah.
different topic we won't get into. But
Mhm.
but yeah, it's the just going to the gym a couple of times a week, eating as healthy as you possibly can. You don't gotta every meal doesn't have to be perfectly healthy and all this stuff, but as long
Mhm.
as you're eating as clean and as healthy as possible,
Yeah.
and getting some form of exercise daily. It doesn't have to even be working out. It could be going for an hour long walk or something every
Right.
single day, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on this. I think I said enough on it. I keep forgetting too what I'm saying, so I think that goes
Mhm.
to show my brain's getting a little burnt out. But if you got any closing remarks, Jamie, feel free to take us out.
Yeah. I mean, again, as far as like dating outside the country, it's not a bad idea. If you're an American man, and especially if you're in your 20s, your 30s, and like you're still building yourself, maybe even moving out the country and going somewhere else for some time might be a good move too. Like live in a different city, live in a different country, see what the women over there are like, because guaranteed they're going to be different than the women here in America. Like it's probably going to be almost night and day. Yeah, to a certain degree all women are the same, but I feel like in other countries the standards are different. Like obviously you should have standards, but it's like they're not women in, like, let's just use like Australia for example. Like I'm sure women in Australia are way more cool than women in America, just based off economics. Just based on how in Australia, yeah, you got some people who are like really wealthy who live out there, but it's just like Canada. It's like a lot of people, they're kind of like in between. They're not really wealthy, but they're not like really poor either. So it's like the standards are not so high.
Yeah,
So you can find somebody on your level, and y'all can communicate and understand each other. Like, hey, I'm not a millionaire, you're not a millionaire, but we got something, so let's just be together.
yeah, and
And
something too. I wanna. Oh, sorry, keep going.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I just wanted to say too something too about foreign women is another thing that I noticed is if you are planning on bringing a foreign girl here, like to live here, just be aware that if she's here for some time, this American culture mindset might start to rub off on her.
Yeah,
And if you're giving her citizenship and all that stuff, and just know that when you get divorced, she's still going to have that. It's not like it's going to get taken away from her.
yeah, right.
So again, this is why guys got to be smart. Understand women, understand the good ones from the bad ones, and
Hmm.
that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, I notice even if these women are kind of off the boat, right? It's like once they're here for a few years, especially if they've been here 10 years, they're basically like an American. So
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about this culture, man, that like it seems to like give women this crazy ego boost almost. About the United States, it probably empowers women the most, and
Hmm.
out of any country in the world. Um, so anyway, I know I said I was going to stop talking. I'm going to stop, and I'll let you. take a step.
Yeah, no, I'm going with whatever you're saying, man. I agree, man. I think in this, in this stream, we touched on a lot of things that are a lot of men are facing, and things that we've experienced. So it's a message that needs to be heard, because I'm sure a lot of guys could, resonate with what we're saying, and a lot of women too. They can probably see that they're not in this, like I'm sure a lot of women don't resonate with this chart. Like they don't shoot for the top of the top men. Like they're actually looking for someone who's on their level, or even someone who's below their level but still meets their needs and standards. So it's like I think in the overall grand scheme of things, there needs to be more talk about what's really happening out here in the world, especially in the dating world. Like just the fact that you're seeing such a rise in like STDs and stuff like that. It's like that's just telling you like we're living in a world of lust. Everybody's in a lustful spirit.
Is there really a rise in STDs?
Yeah, like in the past, within the last like 10 years, there's been a extreme rise in like STDs and stuff like that, and it has to do with obviously it's not in every location in America, but in certain cities, yeah, it's running rampant, like HIV and stuff like that. Um, but that's just because we're living in a lustful time. Like everybody's lusting over one another. People are doing one night stands. A lot of people are paying for sex. So it's like, and this goes back to men being lonely. There's a lot of lonely men out there who feel like, hey, if I can't meet a girl in a natural way, well, I'll just pay for it. So that's creating a disconnect too. It's like men just are paying for play, and it's like, all right, that's not helping this society at all, because
Right. And
now
then it's a
women.
never-ending battle of men and women. Well, if men didn't pay for it or enable the behavior, we wouldn't do it, right? And
Right.
it's true, sure, but like, doesn't mean you have to do it,
Yeah.
right? Just
And
because, but again, it's not an argument that's meant to be won by either side because
yeah.
both sides are wrong. They're not looking at the bigger picture, you know.
Yeah, and prostitution has been, it's like the oldest like a job in the book, honestly. It's like it's been around for like thousands of years. So it's like at the end of the day, we're seeing society really take a snowball effect downhill, and it's going fast. And this next generation, going back to what we were talking about a couple podcasts ago, was a lot of men aren't meeting women in person. A lot of young men, a lot of young boys under the age of 23 haven't asked a girl out in person.
Yeah.
So it's like we're entering that age where like we might just see
And
guys
dude,
only
same with
talking
me, right? I'm 28. I've met very few women in person the past 2 years. Most of the women I've met
online and
have been
stuff.
online.
Yeah, me too, honestly. Yeah, like I would say the girls who I have ended up talking to, and had some type of relationship with, I met them online. and and also it's like also for me not also going out as much. Like I don't go out as much, and when I do go out, I'm going out just to hear like music because I'm in the music business, and I want to hear like what the DJs are playing. So I'm like networking and stuff like that. So I'm not really focused on like picking up chicks, but if I were to go out more, I think I probably would meet a lot more women in person. But bro, I've gone to these clubs, man. These clubs are so shallow. Like it's such a waste of time,
It's
man.
really it's pretty much with girls that are all kind of like these ones. They're just kind of like all go after these top guys here,
Yeah,
these types. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And do you really want to meet a girl in a club? You know what I mean? Like, do you really want to meet a girl in a bar? Like, is that really where you want to meet your girl? Like, I'm sure there's been a lot of nice girls in these places, but
Yeah, so the
honestly,
issue I'm facing, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of guys, it's like, all right, if you don't go to a bar or club, it's like, where do you meet women then? It's like, all
yeah,
right, coffee shop, mall.
yeah,
But I guess then the argument could say, well, those aren't like the best places to just approach women, right? Like at bars and
right,
clubs, it's like, oh, it's a social thing. It's like that's what it's meant for, you know. But
right.
why do I have to go to like scenes where it's drinking and like all this stuff. You know, like why can't I'd rather also just meet a girl sober when I'm living my life, but
Right.
again, it's
Yeah.
just a generational difference because it's like how I was telling you on the stream yesterday that there's this guy who randomly started talking to me at the gym, right?
Yeah.
And my first initial thought was, oh, this is weird, but not like, oh, because he's weird. I'm not used to someone just randomly starting a stranger starting a conversation with me,
Hmm.
right? So it's just that generation.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
It's like that way of thinking. It's like, hey, people just coming up to you is awkward. Again, I enjoy it. I am still kind of shy in a sense where like I'm not gonna just go out the way and talk to random people. Like initiate it in a sense. Now, if they talk to me, I'm gonna obviously talk back. Like I'm one of those type of people. Like if you talk to me, I'll sit and talk with you about anything. But I find it hard for myself to initiate a conversation with random people,
yeah,
and
it's
that's like partly because I've been like a single child growing up.
you mean only
So
child?
yeah, only child. So it's like I'm used to just being alone. I'm used to like doing my own thing. Um, but it just depends. Like for example, in the gym, I am not going up to people and talking to people. Like in the gym, I'm about my workout, my fitness. I'm trying to get right. Like my mindset is in like a warrior mindset. Like I'm in a battle right now. So I'm not like in the socializing mood when I'm at the gym. But I have met a lot of people at the gym before. Like depending on
Yeah,
if I'm playing basketball, I'll meet a ton of people. Just by chopping it up with people. And then like I've met a few girls at the gym too. But I've just noticed that like for me, like in this day and age, like where I'm at mentally and where I'm at spiritually as a person, I don't have the energy to do that. Like when I was younger, bro, like when I was like high school and like college, I would literally go to clubs and I would bounce all over the club, talk to every single girl in the club. Like I had the energy to do that. Like to literally just, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? You know what I mean? Like every single girl. And like I either got denied or they liked me and we danced. But like now I don't have the energy to do that and I don't care enough to do it. You know what I mean? So I think that's partly the reason why I'm single to this day, along with me not even going out anymore. So
yeah. Well, I mean, maybe I'm being a little pessimistic, but I don't know where to go. I mean, I don't really go out to bars, clubs that often either. And it's like, but when I do, it's like that's when I see girls our age the most, you know.
hmm
But it's like now I haven't as much because it's colder. But like when I would go to like meetup events for like random sports like volleyball, pickleball, sometimes basketball, badminton, random stuff, right?
yeah,
And it's like I wouldn't see that many girls really there. If there were, they were usually with their man,
hmm
or if they were not with anyone, they were usually pretty awkward. They weren't very easy to talk to, you
yeah,
know.
right,
But anyway, I go for walks a lot in my town. I go to the gym. Yeah, the gym. I understand it's like it's not the best place to socialize. People are trying to work out. But I go on walks, right, in parks, local parks, not even just in my town here, and I always just see old people. I don't even really see much people our age, guys and girls. I mainly just see like I don't know people that could be my parents' age, you know.
yeah. I think
So
a lot of
I just
people,
always wonder. I always wonder, man, what do people our age do like all
yeah,
day in their free time?
I think a lot of people our age are like in the indoors a lot too. Technology, working from home, X, Y, and Z. So I think a lot of us are indoors. Me, I'm definitely indoors a lot, but I think the best places are, some type of a place where you can share a common interest. Let's say it is a coffee shop. Let's say it is like a gym. A gym is, it depends. Like let's say if you're in a gym and they have like classes, like let's say like a yoga class, like that might be a better way to actually engage in conversations with people instead of just like working out next to somebody and trying to like spark conversation. um maybe even like a library. Like I love going to like libraries and just like reading books or just finding like Barnes and Nobles. That was one of my favorite places. Those are good places. Even grocery stores, if you're in a grocery store, And it's just like finding ways to spark conversation. I think is the way to do it. Um, a lot of it is also you have to have like courage to just to go up to random people and just do that. And some people have the personality for it, and other people just don't. Um, and I think a lot of like younger people today don't have that personality to just go up and start random conversation. And women definitely don't have it. Like very rarely will you see a woman actually go up to someone and start a conversation. Like I've seen it happen a couple times. I've seen it happen to me a couple times, but
You got to be viewed as this guy by her for her to do that.
yeah, yeah, for the most part, yeah, it's not gonna happen. So it's like as a man, it's kind of like you have to be the one to initiate that. But then it's like, do you like I was saying earlier, like I used to be able to do that, like I used to do that with ease, but I had energy to do that. Like back then all I cared about was like talking to women, playing sports, video games. Like that's what my mind was on. Nowadays my mind's not on that type of shit. My mind is on like truth seeking. I'm looking for knowledge. I'm trying to build myself up. I'm trying to build a business. Like that's what like my mind is on. So like if I can find somebody in that field that I'm in, like I would love to meet a girl in the music situation. Like if I go to like a concert, like a DJ concert or a show, and there's a female who's like on the same level as me, likes the same music, has the same type of mind as I do. I would love to meet someone in that type of environment, because it goes hand in hand with where I'm at in life. So I think that's the way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. Well, this has been a really informative session with you, Shami. Definitely enjoyed this. It's
Yep.
nice to talk with someone who understands what you're going through.
Yeah.
I'm sure anyone who might have listened to this till the end probably might feel the same way and might feel hopeless at times. But it's kind of like what Shami was just saying. It's the best way to meet your significant other or just partner in life is through hobbies. Whether that be something I might like to do, like maybe try to find sports stuff or music or I don't know, cards or chess, whatever it might be.
You're right. Yeah.
You got to seek it out in your area. Especially if you live in a city area, urban area, there's probably a lot of stuff. You might just have to do some research to find it. Um, so yeah, we'll end it off with that. And if you don't have any last words, Shammy, I guess we'll end it here then.
No, just I hope this message gets out to whoever needs to hear it, and it's definitely been very therapeutic to talk about these things, and it's real shit. It's real things that are happening in the world, so it's good to talk about that. If you guys could just leave a like, comment if you would like, or subscribe, that would be great. I think that helps with the algorithms if you like and comment.
Yeah, please.
And we're trying to like build our channel up. We're like if you can tell, our stuff is unfiltered, it's unscripted. It's right off the rip. Like we don't edit anything. It's just straight up on the go. So we just try to bring to the world like real conversations that need to be had that's happening in today's day. 2025. So that's all I really have to say, and I'm gonna leave it there. Take
All
care,
right.
everyone.
Good night.
Peace.